Welcome back to the Cumbie Show. We tell like it is, and we don't care how you feel. And we got another great slate of matchups this weekend, Week 5 college football. And how I like to do my preview and prediction videos is I like to take the top 15 matchups of every week, what I believe to be the top 15 matchups for that week. I like to run through them, give my thoughts and opinions. I will pick a winner for every single game. And at the end of the video, I'll also pick my upset pick of the week. And then I will also keep a record of every single game I pick, whether I get it right, whether I get it wrong. And at the end of the season, we can look at what it does to see if I actually know what I'm talking about. So I was unfortunately unable to make videos the first 4 weeks of the season, so I was not able to make picks on those games. But we will start the count now. But let's jump right into it. We'll start out with the SEC side. Getting into the first game we're going to go over, that's number 4 LSU. That's 4-0. They're going on the road to take on number 13 Ole Miss, who's also sitting at 4-0. Ole Miss is a 1.5-point favorite at home. I am making this video. As I make this video, this is what these lines are. So there is still time for these lines to change. But currently, right now, this is what these lines are. Ole Miss is a 1.5-point favorite. My question going into this game is, can LSU find their offense? Because it is seeming to not exist currently. Going in the offseason, going into this season, we all heard the talks of how great this LSU offense was going to be. Garrett Nussmeier there, the quarterback for LSU, talks, and everyone's favorite to win the Heisman. But it has not panned out that way. They have looked lethargic. They haven't been able to get anything going. No consistency. It's just been lackluster across the board. So very concerning for LSU. Ole Miss, on the other hand, they actually have looked very good on offense. Chambliss, the quarterback for Ole Miss, he has looked very good. I'm very impressed from what I've seen from him. I think he's putting up good numbers. So the offense there is for Ole Miss. They're putting up a lot of numbers. Granted, I don't think they've had great competition the first 4 weeks of the season, but they're putting up big numbers. The defense for Ole Miss, though, is my big red flag for this game. They are giving up a lot of points. They have given up 58 points to Kentucky and Arkansas. Those two teams alone. I think Kentucky is one of the worst, if not the worst team in the SEC. And Ole Miss they're giving up so many points. So my thing for this game is I believe, can LSU find their offense? If they can, I think they win this game. And I'm actually going to take LSU to go on the road, get a win at Ole Miss. I think that they finally get clicking on the offense. I think they're able to get some consistency. I don't like what I see from this Ole Miss defense, and I think LSU is able to do just enough to get the win. I think they look good on offense. They kind of get into the groove of things, so I'm going to take LSU. Give me LSU in that game. Moving on to the next one, we got Auburn 3-1 going on the road to take on number 9 Texas A&M, who's 3-0. Texas A&M is a 6.5-point favorite. My thing with this game is, can Texas A&M get over the running joke of Texas 8-4? We hear it every single year, no matter how great they are, no matter what their expectations are. It seems like at the end of the regular season, we look back and Texas A&M has gone 8-4. Hence, Texas 8-4. Can they finally take that next step, get over that wall, and actually contend for an SEC championship or contend for the playoff? This is the year to do so if they're ever going to do it. Looking at Texas A&M schedule, they don't have many hard games left. They got a relatively, what I would say, an easier slate of the SEC schedule, just with their schedule overall. Their toughest games are Notre Dame, LSU, and Texas, in my opinion. They've already played and beaten Notre Dame. They do have LSU down the line, so we'll see how that game shapes up. And then they also play Texas. But I don't know. The jury's still on if Texas is good or not. They have not looked good this season. So not really willing to say that Texas is a world beater yet. So if there is ever a year that Texas A&M can finally get over the hump, it's this game. In years past, this would be the game that Texas A&M would lose when they really have no business losing. I'm not saying that Auburn can't win this game. They definitely can. But this is a home game for Texas A&M. They're a 6.5-point favorite. They have the better roster. They should win this game. For Auburn, I think this comes at a very bad spot for them. They are coming off a Heartbreaking loss to Oklahoma. Say what you want about that game. Horrible officiating, probably some of the worst officiating I've ever seen in a game. It was so bad that the SEC officiating crew had to come out and actually basically apologize and say they got it wrong, that they fucked up. So it was horrible officiating. But at the end of the day, you still lost. Auburn still lost. You have every right to be ticked off, to be pissed off, but it's still an L. I just don't like where this game sits for Auburn. They have to travel on the road in consecutive weeks. It's back-to-back road games. Texas A&M is a very hard place to play. It's loud. It's hostile. I don't like this spot for Auburn. I think they lose. I'm going to take Texas A&M, and I'm actually going to take Texas A&M to cover the 6.5 points at home. I think this game could get out of hand. I don't like where this sits on the schedule for Auburn. I think they have back-to-back losses, and I think that's pretty much the end to Auburn's schedule. So give me Texas A&M in that game. Moving right along, we got number 15 Tennessee sitting at 3-1. They're going on the road to take on Mississippi State. 4-0 Mississippi State. Tennessee is a 7.5 point favorite. Tennessee is looking great on offense. In the offseason, we all know the story of Nico, I'm about to leave you. Well, he did leave Tennessee. He went off to UCLA for what he thought was greener pastures. And I'm going to be honest, in the offseason, I thought Tennessee was going to go 7-5. They'd be lucky if they got to 8-4, and they have completely proved me wrong so far through their first 4 games of the schedule of the season. Their offense looks absolutely dynamite, like they haven't even missed it. It almost looks better to me, in my opinion. So I am highly impressed with what I've seen from Tennessee. And right now, I don't think Mississippi State is that good. They got a good win against Arizona State in week 2, but I just don't know if they have the talent on the roster to keep up with what I've seen from Tennessee. I really like what I see from Tennessee, so give me Tennessee in that game. I'm taking Tennessee to go on the road to beat Mississippi State. We got Kentucky, number 21, at South Carolina, 2-2. Kentucky is 2-1. South Carolina is a 6.5 point favorite. There's not much to say about this game. I think Kentucky is probably the worst team in the SEC. Them in Florida. You can coin flip for whoever you want to decide who's the worst team. I think they are the worst, one of the worst teams in the SEC. South Carolina had a very embarrassing loss against Vanderbilt. They lost 31-7. Humiliating loss. I think that this South Carolina team is a lot better than that. I honestly don't know what happened in that game, but that was not a good look. I think South Carolina is better than that. Give me South Carolina to get the win at home. I just don't think Kentucky has what it takes to compete in pretty much any game in the SEC this year. I think this is probably Mark Stoops' last year if they can afford his buyout. So give me South Carolina. Moving over into the Big Ten, we got number 6 Oregon, who's 4-0. They are going on the road to take on number 3 Penn State, who's 3-0. Penn State opens as a 3.5 point favorite. This is a night game at Penn State. Is it going to be a whiteout? I don't know. But that crowd is going to be electrifying. It's going to be loud. It's going to be hostile. And Penn State is also coming off a bye week. So Penn State has had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. And it's a night game. Basically, everything going in Penn State's favor. Here's the thing. Can they get it done? Penn State's kryptonite is winning big games, whether it's home or on the way. Can they get over that hump, take that next step to win the big games? Oregon, they've looked absolutely dynamite on offense. They're putting up video game numbers. They're beating everyone by 1,000,000. Doesn't matter who they're playing. They look absolutely phenomenal on offense. That quarterback for Oregon, Dante Moore, 962 yards, on 74.7 completion percentage, and he's got 11 touchdowns. 11 touchdowns. He's got 1 interception, so he's turned the ball over once through 4 games. 11 touchdowns. They are absolutely killing it on offense. I'm going to take Oregon in this game. I think they go on the road. They beat Penn State at home in a night game. I'm taking a lot of away teams here in this. But I still have a lot of questions for Penn State. They haven't played anyone. Yes, they are 3-0, but they played Nevada, FIU, and Villanova. I can't take a lot from those games. I can't overreact to what I see in those games. You kind of got to take it at surface level. So I still have so many questions for this Penn State team, and they haven't looked that great so far. And they've proven their track record. They've proven they choke in these big games. So I'm going to take Oregon. I think that offense is elite. I think they get the job done. I think it might be low scoring at first, but I think Oregon finally gets it clicking and going. I'm going to take Oregon. Moving right along, still sticking in the Big Ten, we're going to jump over to number 21 USC 4-0 going on the road at Illinois. Number 23 Illinois 3-1. USC is a 6.5-point favorite. I think Illinois is overrated. Illinois was in everyone's top 20, top 15. They got absolutely embarrassed, dog walked by Indiana. They lost 63-10 to Indiana. Absolutely humiliating. I never jumped on the Illinois bandwagon, the train. I didn't think that they couldn't do it, but I was never there, and I think they could lose 3 more games, not counting this game. I think Illinois has 3 more losses on their schedule. So, and same thing with USC. Like, it's the same thing for USC. Lincoln Riley team that we've all come to expect. Score 100 points on you, but they'll allow 99 points. So they have a defense that can't stop a nosebleed. I feel like you could suit up the nursing home down the road from me, put the nursing home ladies in pads, and they'll still be able to score on this defense for Lincoln Riley and USC. But I think USC gets the job done. It's a 6.5-point favorite. Do they cover them? I don't know. Like I said, USC's defense is absolutely horrible, but I am taking USC to go on the road, get the win against Illinois. Illinois should not even be ranked. The fact that they're still 23 after that loss is absolutely ridiculous. They should not be in the top 25. So give me USC. Number 1, Ohio State, probably the most overrated team, Ohio State. 3-0. They're going on the road to take on Washington, who's 3-0 as well. OSU is an 8.5-point favorite. I do believe that Washington is going to be a much improved team from last season. I think that they are showing really good promise. I just don't think they have what it takes to stick with the big boys in Ohio State. Ohio State has a better roster. They have the better coaching staff. They're better all around. I think this is just too much for Washington, even though it is at home. I'm going to take Ohio State. I think they're just too good. So give me Ohio State in that one. Number 11, Indiana, 4-0, going on the road to take on Iowa, 3-1. Indiana is a 7.5-point favorite. We briefly just touched on them. They put belt to ass against Illinois, the 63-10 win. I'm taking Indiana in this game. I think that they have the potential of being a contender for the Big Ten championship game. I think that they're probably going to be one of the third team from the Big Ten to make it into the playoff. I think Indiana is that good. Iowa always has a solid defense. They make everyone earn every single yard, but I think Indiana is just that good. I think they should be in the top 10. So I'm going to take Indiana to go on the road to beat Iowa. Give me Indiana. Next, UCLA, who's 0-3, going on the road to take on Northwestern, who's 1-2. Northwestern is a 6.5-point favorite. Look, I'm going to be honest. This is not going to be some great game, one of the best matchups this week. It's not one of the best 15 matchups of this week. The reason why I have it in my preview and prediction video is because I find the situation with Nico and UCLA absolutely hilarious. I want to watch this game just to laugh at it. Obviously, we all know the story. Nico was at Tennessee, the quarterback for Tennessee. He left in the offseason because he wanted more money. He felt like he deserved more money to be the starting quarterback. Tennessee pretty much gave him the middle finger and said, see ya. He went off to UCLA. Tennessee picked up UCLA's quarterback, so they basically did a swap, and it has just been downhill from there. Nico has been so bad that he got his coach fired. UCL fired their head coach in week 3 or week 4 of the season. Deshaun Foster. Kind of feel bad for the guy, but they have been absolutely abysmal. Nothing going their way. They got the worst end of that deal, and Nico deserves it. Nico deserves all of it. Give me Northwestern. I'm not going to spend much more time on this game. Give me Northwestern. I think you could suit up. I could suit up alone and beat this UCLA team. I don't think they have any fight. They could go 0-12. UCLA could go 0-12. I'm being serious. But give me Northwestern. Moving into ACC, we got number 8 FSU, 3-0, going on the road to play Virginia, who's 3-1. FSU is a 6.5-point favorite. We all know the story with FSU. They're coming off a miserable season last year, 2-10, probably the worst season in program history. They come out week 1 and get a monster win against Alabama. Not only did they beat Bama, they absolutely dominated them from the first whistle all the way to the last whistle. On offense, defense, special teams, they looked like the better team all the way around. Great win for the program to get the season started. They looked really good. This is one of those Friday night games, which I do not like. I do not like Friday night games. I feel like something always crazy happens on those Friday night games. Something you don't expect. Could this be an upset alert for FSU? I think so. I think FSU goes into this game not fully prepared, taking Virginia lightly. They could leave Virginia with an L. Is this the upset? I don't think so. I'm going to take FSU to win. Even though it's one of those Friday night games, I think FSU is really good. I think they want to prove a point this season. And I don't think Virginia is that good of a team. They have a loss to NC State. I think they're going to finish in the bottom half of the ACC, where I really do think that Florida State is going to contend for an ACC championship and even a playoff spot. So I'm going to take FSU to go on the road to beat Virginia. They got to be prepared. They got to be on their toes. If I come Monday, if there's an L next to FSU, I would not be completely surprised, but I am going to take FSU to win this game. We also got number 16, Georgia Tech, who's 4-0, going on the road to take on Wake Forest, who's 2-1. Georgia Tech is a 13.5-point favorite. Dare I say, is Georgia Tech overrated? Are they just slightly overrated? I think so. I say yes. Here's the thing about Georgia Tech. Their best win this season so far, the reason why everyone has them super high ranked, is Clemson. They beat Clemson at home with basically a Hail Mary field goal, a miracle field goal they won. Give credit to Georgia Tech. They put their players in position to execute that play and win, and they did. But we're finding out that Clemson's not a good team. Each week that goes by, we see just how bad Clemson is. It seems like they're getting worse and worse. So as time progresses, that win against Clemson doesn't look as good. And I think Georgia Tech is benefiting from that. So I do think Georgia Tech is extremely overrated. We look at Georgia Tech's schedule here. Even though I think they're overrated, they have a very good possibility of going to the ACC championship or finding their way into the playoff at the end of the season. We look at their schedule. Their hardest games left, Syracuse and Duke. That's one of their 2 hardest games left on the schedule. So do they lose here? Is this an upset alert? Potentially, but I'm still going to take Georgia Tech. I still have way too many questions for Wake Forest to actually take them. I do think Georgia Tech does look good. As much as I just shit-talked them, I do think that they actually look good. I think they go on the road to get a good win. I don't know if they cover the 13.5 points. That's a lot, but I am going to take Georgia Tech. Duke, 2-2, going on the road to take on Syracuse, 3-1. Duke is a 5.5-point favorite. Obviously, the news surrounding this game, very unfortunate. Quarterback for Syracuse, Steve Angeli, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He's out for the season. Achilles injury. Hate to see it. I always hate to see these kids get hurt, no matter who they play for. They got the backup Ricky Collins coming in, and he's just a complete unknown. Complete unknown. We don't know what to expect from him. We don't know what we're going to see from him. And for that reason alone, honestly, I'm going to have to take Duke in this game. It is a home game for Syracuse, but I just don't know what to expect from Ricky Collins. This is probably the one pick that I would be okay with being wrong at, because I do want Syracuse to win. I like Syracuse. I like what they bring this year, or what they had this year, but that's just a devastating loss for them at the quarterback position, and it's just a complete unknown. So I do think Duke goes on the road. They get the win there, so give me Duke in that one. Switching over to the Big 12 side of things, we got number 25, BYU, 3-0, going on the road to Colorado, 2-2, and BYU is a 6.5-point favorite on the road. Surprising? I don't know. I still think Deion Sanders is in way over his head. He's not a head coach. I think he is in way over his head. I'm actually surprised that he's still the head coach of Colorado. They're doing the hokey pokey out there, the flip floppy with the quarterbacks. They can't decide what quarterback they want to play. Although they have had some really good quarterback play, especially out of the Caden Salter guy. He's thrown for 0 interceptions. And then they've also got Ryan Staub throwing 2 interceptions. They're swapping them back and forth. But they are putting up good numbers, especially that Salter kid. Their run game is very lackluster. It's very average for the Big 12. And on the BYU side of things, they have almost no passing threat at all. I was looking at their numbers earlier, and very bottom of the barrel passing numbers from BYU. Their run game is strong, but they rely on one player for almost half of their yards, their total yards they've gained on the rush. They rely on one player in LJ Martin. He makes up 43% of their total yards in the rushing game. That can be detrimental. I think you got to have a good stable of running backs to filter through. So I'm kind of concerned in that area for offense. So give me Colorado. I'm going to take Colorado to have the upset. BYU is favored by 6.5 points. I think Colorado gets it done at home. I think it's a surprising win, so I'm actually going to take Colorado. Deion, don't make me regret that. But I'm taking Colorado. Moving right along, we got number 24 TCU, who's 3-0. They're going on the road to take on Arizona State, who's 3-1. Arizona State is a 2.5-point favorite. This is another one of those Friday night late games. I think the kickoff is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very late Friday night games. I really like what I see from that O-line for TCU. And that Josh Hoover quarterback, he is looking pretty dang good, if I say so myself. I really like what I see from the offensive side of TCU. Sam Levitt for ASU, he's got 3 interceptions and 8 sacks. He is turning the ball over consistently, and he's holding on to the ball, and he's giving up so many sacks. That's a concern. They do rely heavy on the run game for ASU. So, like I said earlier, this is one of those Friday night games that I absolutely hate. I never want Georgia to play a Friday night game, especially at home. It always seems to go awry for the home team. So I'm actually going to take TCU to go on the road Friday night to get the win against ASU. I think it's just one of those weird nights. I'm taking TCU. Give me TCU in that. One of the last games we're going to get into before we get to our upset alert is going to be Arizona 3-0. They're going on the road to number 14 Iowa State, who's also 4-0. Iowa State is a 6.5-point favorite. They look really good. It could be them versus Texas Tech in the Big 12. I think they have a legitimate shot at actually making it to the playoff, winning the Big 12 entirely. I do like what I've seen from Iowa State so far, so I am going to take them to get the win at home. Beat Arizona. They're going to improve 5-0. Give me Iowa State. With that, we're going to get into my upset alert. My upset pick for the week, and that is going to be number 22 Notre Dame going on the road to take Arkansas. Notre Dame is 1-2. They've had not a great start to the season, and Arkansas is 2-2. Notre Dame is a 3.5-point favorite. I am taking Arkansas in this game, and here's the reason why. I think Notre Dame is extremely overrated, and to me, they will always be overrated until they join a damn conference. Join a conference. You cannot lose the 2 games, the best 2, the top 2 competition on your schedule. You cannot lose both of those games and still expect to get in the playoff. Even if they go undefeated from here on out and end up the season going 10-2, I do not think Notre Dame deserves a shot in the playoff. I don't think they're that good, because that's the thing. I don't think they go 10-2. I think they lose at least one more game, and this is that game. Arkansas is fighting for everything. It's a home game for Arkansas. They're fighting for their head coach. They're fighting for themselves. Even if Arkansas wins this game, I don't know if it's enough to save Sam Pittman's job. I think he's pretty much out the door no matter what, unless he makes a playoff, which I don't see that happening. But I think Arkansas has their backs up against the wall. I think they come out to prove a point, and I think that Arkansas gets it done at home. They beat Notre Dame. That's my upset pick of the week.